Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester LTIDtv
For all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels.
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
Happen in 49, 61, 63 or 69 when they reach the final. But the class of 2021 have delivered. Leicester City are FA Cup winners at last and are history makers at Wembley.
They have blown their rivals away. They have blown us all away in truth. Premier League champions 2016. The amazing Leicester City!
Leicester Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
Right, Chris.
All right there, how the devil are we all? Yep, back again, twice a night again tonight. We've got the weekend review show. Yeah, and unfortunately we played at the weekend and yeah, didn't go too well for us, I'm afraid, but we will have to discuss that as much as I don't want to. Of course, we lost 2-0 to
Arsenal!
Indeed. This is Leicester Till I Die TV. We are live on YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV. As I say, that's the channel name. Please find us, give it a like, and please, if you haven't already, subscribe. And if you're listening on catch up on the podcast, thank you so much for doing that. Amazon, Apple iTunes, Google, Spotify, Podcast Addict, to name but a few. This is where you can find us.
Watch us on YouTube. Listen on your favourite podcast platform or ask your smart speaker to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Broadcasting live worldwide.
And so let's welcome my co-presenter back going forward for this show. Didn't put her off last week, which is the first time I've not done that, so she must have enjoyed it. Louise, good evening. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you.
Didn't put you off last week then?
No. Had some technical issues, but we sorted them, so yeah.
With it's amazing how many times when you go to watch these channels, people start late because of technical problems.
Oh,
so don't worry, we all get the gremlins. And I do believe there's a cream for it. So it's been an interesting weekend, and we were just sort of talking off camera there about it. But there's so much doom and gloom about that. I wanted to start with sort of kind of upbeat. And this guy, I mean, you know, if it didn't bring a tear to your eye, I think you possibly would be lying. And you know, I was watching, I think it was Match of the Day, and I think that the commentator said, you know, you're not going to be able to see this, but even the Villa fans are applauding. It was a special moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously everyone knows like the troubles going on, but you can't imagine what that's like to be in a completely different country to your family when that is going on. And even if he hasn't got family there, I'm not sure, but it's you have that attachment to where you're from, don't you?
You do. It's your country. Yeah.
And I don't know whether he plays for the international team or what that level is for him, but you've seen a lot of Ukrainian players being obviously very, very emotional when they're having to do their job under those circumstances.
Yes.
And I'm really, really proud of the footballing community who have been amazing across the board. You know, you've had minutes of silence, and we've had, everyone is behind Ukraine in this country, I think. So
yes,
everyone's showed that, and that's obviously all going to help players that are playing here feel more.
No, I mean, he's played for the Ukraine team, like under 19s and 21s and 100 odd games for the main team, and it just, like you say, you can't imagine. You presume he's got a family over there, like you say, but you can't imagine how you concentrate on something like that, But all credit to him. It was a great moment in what must be a horrible time from a few moments. And it's brilliant, like you say, the football fans, we do the flags and whatever. But I think applauding when the opposition score is a nice move, and respect to the Villa fans for doing that.
Yeah, definitely. Some things are just bigger than football and bigger than the tribalism that football has. And, obviously what's going on in Ukraine is massively more important.
Yes. Can't get away from it, though. It does kind of rule everybody's lives at the moment. It's almost like COVID never happened, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just going from one bad thing to another, isn't it?
It is. It's not good at the moment.
No.
We were talking before about it's getting bad for Chelsea, but it's not as bad as, as well. You don't need to be crying into your coffees and teas just yet. I mean, like you said, they're not going out of business.
No. There will be a Chelsea Football Club playing in the Premier League next season. And that's what they've got to hold on to. Someone will buy Chelsea. It's not going to go out of business. Their worry is that whoever buys them isn't going to have the money that Abramovich has got. And that's probably going to be true. But in the grand scheme of things, again, some things are bigger than football.
Yes, yeah.
And if we can put pressure on Putin in any way, shape or form, then that's what we have to do.
Agreed. I think as long as, I know the Premier League, I think, have sort of allowed them to have money from the TV, viewing pot, whatever it is, and ticket money. But I just I wasn't totally, and I get everything is so bigger, but it was when they sort of said, right, if you're not a season ticket holder, you can't come and see the games. Now, I don't know whether any Chelsea fans can get in, or all the seats are taken by season ticket holders. But I just thought sometimes it is always the fans that seem to suffer. And yes, it is bigger, but like you say, if you upset Chelsea, just give a Berry fan a ring and ask him how he's feeling.
Exactly.
Yes.
And again, like I said before we started, Chelsea have had this money that they should never have had. We've known for a long time the links he's had with Putin, and they took the money.
Yes.
Chelsea took the money, and the Premier League took the money.
Yes.
It's only now that the government have got involved that this is actually an issue.
Yeah.
And it should be an issue. It should have been an issue 10 years ago, or however long it was when he bought it. It wasn't. He's now putting on a lot of money that he wants back.
Yeah. And it's funny how quickly he's running away, isn't it? I mean, it was almost, couldn't wait to get out, sort of thing, But he said
he handed it over, didn't he, to the charitable board or whatever it is at Chelsea. Yeah. And that everyone knew that was because he didn't want it taken off him. He was giving it to them to try and, this is no longer mine. But at the end of the day, he's still the owner. He still owns Chelsea Football Club.
Yeah.
So he was still going to be making money out of it. And he, he's going on TV saying, I'm going to give all this money that Chelsea owe me to the Ukrainian war effort. No, you're not though, are you? Whoever buys it is paying that.
Yes.
We're not stupid. Yeah. Don't treat us like we are.
Yes. Chris, good evening. How are you? So welcome along. Nice to see you in the chat. 2002 apparently when Roman bought Chelsea. It could be like I was saying off screen before we came live there, but for the grace of God, you don't know what Thailand's going to do in a couple of years. That could be us. And it does make you think, and I was having a chat today with somebody, sort of, if these, when these businessmen get bored or run out of money, there's going to be some seismic changes, I think, in the football structure of this country.
Yeah, I mean, it's always difficult because the Premier League has such pull. It is one of the best, if not the best division in the world. That's
Yes.
why people want a football club in the Premier League. The Premier League's job is to make sure that this money that is coming in is coming from the right places.
Yeah.
And they did. They did with Newcastle, and then they went back on it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This money is quite clearly coming from this place. You already know that. You've already said no to it. Why then say yes? I mean, I don't know. I didn't follow the story particularly closely with Newcastle. Obviously, as a Newcastle fan, you're going to be ecstatic.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to be the next Man City or whatever. But as a league, you either have to take them on the high ground all the time or never. You can't pick and choose when you do it. And that's what they're doing.
Exactly. Totally agree. It is all about money, whatever whatever way you try and look at it. Yep. But in the middle of all this, a few games broke out. Yeah. Maybe we wish they hadn't, but unfortunately they did. And we will come to that later because it was the last game apart from tonight's, which, if I just double check here somewhere, it is still 0-0. Second half we're into now. It does look like Manchester City are playing Leicester, because Manchester City have had 14 shots and Palace have had 3. So
but they've not scored from a corner though, have they?
Well, no. You had to say that, didn't you? I was just trying to. I'm sure that will come back and later on in the show. The FA or Premier League need to do proper background checks before they buy any club. Yes, they're supposed to, aren't they? You know, they are supposed to. But there we go. That's all the political side. But started off on Saturday, and it was pretty much, if you were watching Match of the Day, you got a fair share of your club being on it, because, say, Liverpool went to Brighton, Brentford and Burnley met up, and what I said was going to be a low-scoring draw ended up as a 3-2 to Manchester, which, as always, shows you exactly what I know about football, which is nothing. But we'll start with this one. Brighton and Hove Albion 0, Liverpool 2. It was never going to be any other way, was it, really?
No, I mean, it's a game even away from home that you'd expect Liverpool to win, but Brighton did have a really good chance when it was 1-0. So had they scored that, maybe things would have been different. But I still feel Liverpool would probably have won the game regardless of whether that goal went in. Brighton are not going down. They're not probably going to get Europe. It's just another season for them that's, staying in the Premier League. And to be fair, that's a good season for them.
It is. I mean, but it has sort of petered out a little bit, because they were being talked about as getting into Europe, whether that's the Conference or the Europa. It doesn't really make much difference. We're still getting into Europe. And they've lost at least 5 on the trot now. And you think, like, well, has their bubble burst for them? Like you say, they're not going to go down, but it kind of evens out over the season, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the problem is the squad, isn't it? It's not big enough. It's not got enough talent. When this starts to get injuries, which obviously you're bound to, and red cards, whatever, players get COVID, whatever it be, that's when they're going to slide, because they haven't got that second team. They've just not got the players after the team. They've not got squad players.
Yes, yeah. Diaz is looking an excellent buy for Liverpool.
Very, very much so, yeah. I mean, the goal he scored was a really good one. And it's just another option, isn't it? It's just another option for what they've got up front. I really, really want Liverpool to win the league. I do not want Man City to win. I think they will, though. I think Man City will win it. But Liverpool are starting to make it, a 2-horse race rather than a 1-horse race, which is obviously better for the division, more exciting for the neutrals.
Definitely. I mean, like you say, it's the bottom half, the relegation battle was looking more exciting. And I'm thinking, like, we're getting more and more like Scotland here, where it is one of 3 or 4 teams that always seem to win it. See, I'm torn with this, and I'm glad Liverpool are making a fight of it, because it is making it more exciting for those of us that are stuck mid-table. But the way I get this is Liverpool have won the same number of Premier League trophies as we have. All right, it took them a bit longer, but they still got one. Now, it would be nice to see Manchester City not win it again, but then Liverpool, if they win it, have got one more than us. You know what I mean? From a selfish point of view, I think I want Manchester City.
Yeah, I just don't want us to end up like Scotland. That's the problem.
Yeah, totally.
You know, I don't want the same teams winning all the time. That's why, you know, when we did win it, I hoped that would give impetus to other teams, and it didn't work out like that because, you know, it has been Manchester City, Liverpool and Chelsea ever since. But yeah, I can't see any other team winning it than Man City for the foreseeable future, because the squad they have and the money they have, the manager they have, like, it's all in place for them to win a lot of trophies.
Yes.
And I kind of almost think they'd like to swap with Liverpool, because I feel Liverpool would want another Premier League trophy, but Man City want the Champions League. So, like, I think they should, you know, they'd love to swap that with each other.
Yes.
But you never know what's going to happen. They're not winning tonight. You know, that's 2 points gained for Liverpool.
Yes. Oh, God, yeah. And like I say, it does make it more exciting. And I don't want it to get like Scotland, because it's just, you know, I mean, it almost decries that, you know, you look at Brendan Rodgers was at Celtic, and everybody says, oh, yeah. And I'm not getting into a Rodgers in or out, because I'm Rodgers in, and that's the end of it. But, you know, I'm a realist, and I look and think, yeah, he did really well in Scotland, but for most of the time he was in Scotland, Rangers weren't even in the same division. And it kind of, like you say, I don't really want to get it. And you've got sort of, you know, Paris, it's always, you know, 9 times out of 10 PSG. Same with, you know, with Spain, although Atletico Madrid are sort of making a bit of a fist of it in recent years. But I do know what you mean. And can I just say, Brighton, if you wanted to know, you know, how to stop Salah scoring a goal, you should have been watching us. That's a bit unfair, I know, because it did hit the post, but
it did.
You know, I went obviously for an away win, and I think the money was always on me getting that one right. You know, the next game now, Brentford Burnley. I said the other week, because as you know, I do a lot with Dan from Turf Moorhouse TV. He was thinking about coming on tonight, but he's actually in bed. Let's just not go there. I did actually ask him just if he was coming on, and his reply was, I'm in bed already. Once I've done doing what I'm doing. And I thought, I really don't want to know this, Dan. I really don't want to know this. Thank you very much. He hates it when I say Burnley are going to win, because they never do. But like I say, they had that couple of good games, and I thought, yeah, maybe their season is turning, because Dan's been saying they're a second half of the season team and all this. But, you know, I thought they might actually make a fight of it and stay up, but I don't think necessarily they will do this time, because Watford and all the other results went against them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Then the new striker's come in. He's only got one goal. I think it's going to be hard for Burnley to stay up.
Yeah, I think it's always hard for Burnley to stay up because of the money they're spending and the squad they have.
Yes.
I think Sean Dyche does a great job every time he keeps them in the Premier League. And when they did go down, obviously bring them more or less straight back up. But again, I worry for Burnley because they don't score enough goals. It's been their problem for so long that at some point it's, well, you need to spend the money and sort it. You know what your problem is. Defensively, you're pretty solid. Don't give too many goals away, but you don't score any.
Yes.
You cannot win games if you don't score goals. They just don't score enough to win enough games.
I mean, they've won 3 all season. You know, Norwich have won more than them, you know, in fairness. And, you know, you look at it and, you know, obviously we'll come on to Norwich in a bit, but they haven't won in 5, but they're only 4 points behind Burnley. The Burnley got a couple of games in hand, but you can't see them winning that. And I just think, you know, and Brentford, I mean, they're going to have to wrap Ivan Toney up in cotton wool, aren't they? Let's be honest with you.
Yeah, and they're going to have to send him somewhere way away from here in the summer, because I really feel that there's a good chance he probably won't be playing for Brentford at the start of next season.
No.
Because someone's going to take him. I'm not saying like a top team, because I don't think he's proven enough for that yet. But there is a big difference between where Brentford are and that top 6 or 7, where I think he probably would be okay and would probably fit in a few sides there.
I think he would have left if Brentford hadn't come up. If they hadn't won the playoff, I think he would have gone. And I've got to be honest with you, I was giving him a big shout that I would have liked to have seen him at Leicester.
Yeah, because again, he would offer us something different to Vardy, wouldn't he? And, you know, we've been proven over the last few weeks, we need to start thinking about life without him, because he isn't going to go on forever. The older he gets, the more injuries he's going to get, and the longer it's going to take him to come back from those injuries. So, you need someone. And I love Patson. I love him. He seems just the most genuine person. Reminds me a lot of Kante in that respect. But he's not scoring enough goals.
No. I mean, we have to get past, when you look at the fact that he scored, and he's not, he scored a few, I think he scored 10 or something, but 4 of those did come in one game, in fairness. And as achievable as that is, you have to take that into account. And I think also, when you look at, Inacho, I feel so sorry. Oh, well, we'll come on to Leicester later on that. Otherwise, I'll go off on a 10-minute rant here. But yeah, I do. I think Brentford are going to be safe. I wanted them to stay up because I do because I still think of Leicester as not little old Leicester as such, but we're not, one of the big 6. And I like, these teams that come up like Sheffield United did a couple of seasons ago and give it a good shot. Watford and Norwich don't. Brentford have given it a go. Yeah. They've slipped up. I think they're going to be safe.
Yeah, I think Brentford will be safe, and I'm very much like you. I like to see these smaller clubs because not only it makes such a difference to them because they don't have the money. Like it's different for them, and like little old Leicester, like everyone used to call us. Yeah. And then we went and won it. Because the more clubs you have that are smaller in the Premier League, more likely that is to happen. And it's very unlikely, let's be honest, that something like that's going to happen again. But the more teams you've got in there, the bigger chance, the more that chance increases. Yeah.
Exactly. Chris, I don't know what they've done with the money. It would be a very good question. Certainly not spending it on players. I think the thing you've got to think with Burnley's, and as you know, I lived in Burnley for 20-odd years. They're not a huge club. They've not got a sort of a huge stadium. They can't go out and just spend the money on the players because you have got to think of financial fair play. And whilst certain other clubs, they'll pay the fine and it's like pocket money to the owner, to clubs like Burnley and Derby and teams like that, it does affect them. So they can't risk going over that because of the sort of size sort of stadium and the fan base they've got. But,
and also money doesn't guarantee you staying in the Premier League. They could spend a lot of money and still go down.
Yes, indeed.
They're looking with injuries or they just, players don't click, whatever happens. So then that then affects them coming back. And I think that's what Burnley is. It's that kind of like, do we risk it and push that little more? Because I do think they could spend, like, just buy a striker. Buy someone who's going to score you 15 goals, 20 a season. Just do it.
Yes.
Because that's what they need. But they don't.
At least they do make, they do, like say, give it a go, unlike Norwich and Watford. But like I say, that's my little pet hate. Talking about, and obviously I went for the home win there, and I got that one right. Talking of of teams that sort of buy big names, but it doesn't guarantee you're going to win anything. Manchester United.
I don't think Burnley are going to get Ronaldo somehow. I don't think that's going to be a possibility for them. But
their season is unraveling fast, and to my mind, it's just so badly run. I mean. And I think, I don't know, I'm probably mentioning this every week, but people that own football, they're supposed to be businessmen. They're supposed to know what they're doing. Now, if you're going to sack a manager in your business, you've got an idea of somebody you're going to promote or bring in to fulfill that role. And they've got rid of Ollie. They've then, and this is supposedly one of the biggest clubs in the world, they then decided they're going to wait until the end of the season to get the person they want. So they bring in a temporary manager. Temporary managers don't work because the players are thinking, well, you're not going to be here, boss. You're not going to be my manager next season, even if you're at the club. And then you're worse off than the manager that had you before, because Ollie, like it or not, Man United, he got you to second one season. He got you to a European final. Like, you didn't win it, but he got you to fourth last season or the season before. No, I think it was fourth the season before because they took our place, didn't they, on the last day? And then last season they were third. So, you know, and then now got a guy in who seems to just be letting it unravel. I went for a low-scoring draw, which again shows exactly what I know about football. But Tottenham, yes, they've got they've got Kane, they've got Son, and what have you. But I think Conte's not quite got it right yet, has he? And I think it probably be next season when he's had a proper summer transfer window to get his players in. He's got to have a clear out, hasn't he?
Yeah, my only concern with Conte at Tottenham is Daniel Levy. He's not known for spending money. He doesn't really like to do it. And if he is going to spend money, it's usually off the back of selling, getting some in from selling a player. And apart from Harry Kane, who would you want? Like, he is the star of that team by a long way.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose him because you can't replace someone like Kane. You cannot replace that. His goals in your team. You're not going to do that. So you don't want to let Kane go, but you want to buy new players. So you need to sell players. But the only one that people want to buy is Kane.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you do? It's like when Gareth Bale left.
Yeah.
The theory was they were going to sell Gareth Bale. They were going to use the money to buy a whole new team, and it was all going to be great. That didn't happen. So that's my only concern.
I get what you're saying, and I think the only thing possibly is because obviously Conte turned them down in the summer, and they ended up with choice 9, 10, whatever it was with Nuno. Didn't work out. They then went and got Conte in, and like I've said many times, there's that Tottenham needed Conte more than Conte needed Tottenham. He didn't need the job. We know when managers are sacked, we feel sorry for them, but they walk off with quite a big, nice, £1 million, £20 million check, or whatever it is, in their pocket. So he didn't need it, and I'm sure he would have put some, conditions in there for Daniel Levy. It will be interesting to see where it goes because he's not a yes man, and I think Daniel Levy needs a yes man in there. We will see. I think they're about 8th at the moment, aren't they? For me, that's probably where this sort of will finish up come the end of the season. No, yes, they're 8th. So I was right. Win, lose, win, lose. Man United, on the other hand, I didn't see this performance coming. Ronaldo decides, I'm going to turn up for this game. But the problem is, you don't know that he's going to turn up every game. It depends whether he's in the mood or not.
But no one player can win you the league. That's not how football works.
No.
Ronaldo has not hit the form that he did last time he was here or when he was at other clubs. But that's because Juve are winning all the time. That's what they're doing. They're winning.
Yes.
Then it's come to United who are not winning, or not as often. I mean, you say that, though. They did get a second and a third under Ollie. No, it's not like they were complete disasters. No. But that's the difference to being at a Leicester and a Man United. Man United expect to be winning leagues. Second is not good enough for them. And I don't think Ollie was ever the long-term solution. In fact, I don't think he should have been given the job personally. But that's my own opinion of him. When he came, that's what I thought. He did kind of change my mind a little bit because he did get him playing better. He got that team unity bit back, and from what I've heard, people are happy. We're happy with that, really.
He got the team unity back that Jose seems to have left, let go of the club, and everybody was he'd lost the dressing room. Ollie seemed to get it back. But, I mean, again, Man United and businessmen, you employ a manager, you give him a temporary contract, so you're paying his club where he was at so that you can get him. Weird decision, but there we go, because he hadn't got any experience. And I think he came in, I think the Glaziers saw him as this Teflon man because, he's an ex-player, nothing would ever stick to him, and the fans will love us. He got them winning. His contract hadn't even expired, and they went, "We're going to sign you permanently,"
Yeah.
and it all went wrong. It's at least let the contract run and see what he can do.
Yeah, I think.
Hi, Rennie.
Knee-jerk reaction is we need to, because the fans were unhappy.
Yes.
Fans were incredibly unhappy, but they always are with the Glazers.
Yeah.
Getting on him isn't going to make them happy at them. Might help a bit because they're winning or whatever, but they're still going to be unhappy. No Man United fan likes the Glazers at all, and never is going to, because of the money they took out of the club. But you've done that, like you say, that's the decision you've made. Stick with it.
Yes.
Stick with your decision. If you can honestly say the situation that you could get is better, you can get a better manager, go do it. But like you say, some guy on half a season contract.
Yes. I mean, there's some weird decisions being made, and I think some fans forget. I always say, just go and look at Liverpool, because they were like Man United were under Ferguson before, and it took them 30 years to turn things around. And these players are moaning, but hey, that's Man United's problem. But I didn't predict this one at all. I went for the low score draw, which, as I say, shows what I know.
Last thing I want to say, all three goals, absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah, he's got that in him, hasn't he? But one player cannot keep a club. People say, "Oh, Tielemans isn't playing well, so Leicester aren't playing well." Well, it's not just Tielemans. One player can't keep a team running. But yes, there was, and as much as there's times maybe you're thinking like, "Oh, not sure." It's a bit smarmy, and those of us with a long memory remember the World Cup kick that he did and everything. But you've got to say, when he can do magic with that ball. But 72 minutes at Palace and it's still 0-0. I'm imagining Liverpool are getting really excited. And so probably Arsenal are probably throwing the pants, because if Man City don't get a win, Liverpool are really going to be going for it, But anyway, we move on to Sunday, when most of the games happened. Chelsea, Newcastle, Everton, Wolves, Leeds, Norwich, Southampton, Watford, West Ham, Villa, and of course some team in North London played Leicester. And I say this every week again, there's some surprising results, but that's the Premier League this season, and I kind of on the first game, Chelsea, Newcastle, I went for the draw because Newcastle are on the up, and I think they're going to be safe. I think Eddie Howe's got them into a good position, and I know some of the Burnley fans, or Dan has said to me, they're buying themselves out of relegation. I mean, that's football at the moment. We all, I'm sure, there's clubs that, like Oldham and Rochdale, that look at Burnley and think, "Oh, wish we had your money," And I was just reading Rennie's message then. Yeah, so I thought Chelsea, not been brilliantly on form, but they stuck at it, and it's a 90-minute game, or if you play Tottenham, 95. But Chelsea did what was needed to be done.
Yep, that's pretty much it. I mean, Newcastle, on a lot of the Premier League pages, were livid that they didn't get a penalty. I think it was a penalty from what I've seen of it. I've only seen it once, but I thought it was a penalty. However, I don't think they deserve to get a point out of the game. So it depends how you want to look at it. As obviously as a Newcastle fan, you screaming penalty, the referees always favour the big six and all that rubbish.
Yes.
But I thought Chelsea did exactly what they wanted to do. In difficult circumstances, they didn't let what's happening off the pitch affect them on it, and that's you've got to give them credit for that, because not knowing what's happening is the worst in any situation. The not knowing is the worst, and that's what the situation they're in at the minute. Like I said, I don't think they're going bust or anything, but
no,
who knows?
I mean, at the end of the day, you can, it's all, well, yeah, they're on good money, blah, blah, blah. But they've still got mortgages. They've still got families, and I'm sure they're not going to, be out of a job come the summer, but you just never know. You just never know. And it will be, no pun intended, but playing at the back of the minds, what's happening. And Tuchel's done well to keep them, maybe secure them from that. And you can't avoid it altogether, but concentrate with what's going on the pitch. They've gone 5, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Arsenal have all, red, green. It's 5 wins in a row for all of them. I don't think Chelsea are going to win it. I don't think they're going to even, but they're 7 points off Liverpool, so it isn't impossible for them to maybe grab second. But I had them down for actually winning it this season. I thought Tuchel was going to actually get a trophy. He's got obviously the World Cup, but I think Chelsea have got that third position is theirs. But do you see them managing to get a title run? Because you're expecting Liverpool and Man City to drop points, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm assuming at some point that top bit's got to play each other. I mean, at some point, so points will be dropped. I just don't see Chelsea having the consistency that I think Liverpool and Man City are going to have.
Yes. Yeah, I think this is the first time they've gone that many games, sort of, without losing, where, I think Man City and Liverpool are pretty good at that. Next game, well, it just gets worse and worse and worse for Everton, doesn't it? Lost 1-0, player sent off the field troubles as well, the talking points deductions and what have you. Not a good time to be an Everton fan at the moment.
No, not at all. And I heard a lot of, well, if they get points deducted, it won't come off this season, it will be next. So all they're doing then, if they do manage to stay up this season, which is looking less and less likely as the season goes on, then you're going down next season. 21 points is a hell of a lot of points. And I know, like, Derby are obviously putting a big fist of it, but that's a total different division.
Yes.
And again, like the prospects that they have, they're moving into a new stadium. That was all supposed to be good. If that stadium ends up in the Championship,
we know
again,
what that's
how
like,
the
don't we?
finance is going to work out? Well, yeah, we do. How is that finances going to work out?
Yeah.
Then are you going to get back into it the season you drop down? Is it 2 seasons? Is it 3, 4, 5?
The big question is as well, if the points are deducted next season and they go down, then they're not the Premier League. How does that work out? Do they still get the points deducted? Or
I don't think they do if they go down.
No.
However, I'm not 1,000% sure on it. But again, if that is the case, if they go down and then they get that 21-point deduction, which they should still get. I'm sorry, but you've broke the rules. You should still get the punishment, whatever division you're in.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
No. The only team I've actually known that's actually come back from anything like that was Eddie Howe's Bournemouth, who, when I came down here sort of 15 years ago, was this or something like that? No, 10, 12 odd years. Anyway, but Bournemouth were in the bottom league. They'd been deducted 27 odd points, so they weren't getting them back. And Eddie Howe came in, and the rest, as they say, is history. But you can't. I mean, that was then, and that was in a different division, like you say, altogether. Everton, I mean, they're on the same number of points now as Watford. Yes, Watford have played 3 more games, but when you look at a team like, and I say the same for Burnley as well. Yes, they've got game in hands, but can you see them winning that game? One of those games in hand that they've got is actually against Burnley. That's
a huge, huge game. And I think in many ways more for Everton than Burnley.
Yes.
In many, I know that sounds silly because obviously they've got the games in hand. At the end of the day, it's still in Everton's hands. They win the games in hand, they will fly up.
Yeah.
I'll pull away from that relegation zone. I don't see them winning 3 games.
No, not on the current form. No, they've not won in 4, and it's interesting because on Thursday they're hosting Newcastle.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting. Wolves, I mean, they did us recently, didn't they? They lost 3, and then they then beat Watford, and obviously they won this one. And they've got Leeds coming up, Wolves, but I got it wrong again with Wolves because I thought they would struggle without Nuno, but Bruno has come in and replaced him, and 7th is whether they stay that way or not. Obviously, I don't know. Tottenham have got a couple of games in on them, but it's European position.
Yeah, which again for a club like Wolves is a great season.
Yes,
but it isn't any better than what they were under Nuno.
No,
they've not progressed. They've not gone backwards either. They're exactly where they were when he left.
Yes,
Had he stayed, who knows what would have happened? Maybe they would have fell down because that might have energized him or whatever. But yeah, I don't know why Wolves let him go. I don't know whether he left or whether Wolves pushed him out the door.
I think it was sort of mutual.
Okay.
They'd fallen out. Let's just put it that way. They did.
He wanted the Everton job, basically.
Yes, I think it was a Nigel Pearson moment, like he had with Top. 80 minutes now, and it's still 0-0. This is getting very interesting. I think.
How many points are Liverpool behind Man City?
Sorry, how many points? 3.
3.
But after this, let's just bring the table up because I was looking at an old table. They're 4 points behind as it stands at the moment because Everton got the point for thinking, but Liverpool have got a game in hand on them. Okay. So if Palace were to win, which I can't probably see it, but who knows after this weekend, then it's the 3. But if they don't and Liverpool can beat Arsenal, and again, that's no given the way Arsenal are playing at the moment. It is actually, thank you, Liverpool. It is getting, thank you, Palace. It's getting that top half of the table interesting again. I went for an away win. I don't think you could ever go for anything other than Everton losing at the moment.
No, I'm afraid you can't back Everton in any way, shape, or form at the moment.
No. Now this one, I was doing well at this point because I got a home win for this one. I can never go for Norwich. I want Norwich to go down, as you know, and I want them to disappear for a couple of seasons up their own backside. And come when you decided to sort of give it a proper go, then come up. And we know you can give it a proper go because they've done it before in the top division. They got to Europe one season. So it is possible, Norwich, but just coming up and going down, you just, like I say, denying anybody else a chance. But this was a huge, huge win for Leeds and a very exciting end to the game.
Yeah, and I just think as well, Leeds have got the huge boost of having Bamford back.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about him, but I remember him playing it, and he was not a player that I thought would play in the Premier League. But for Leeds, it's working for them, and they're a different side when he's playing. And he was instrumental in both goals. So,
yeah, I mean, like I say, and 3 goals after 90 minutes. That's got to be exciting. I mean, first of all, you had Leeds thinking they'd won it. Then Norwich equalised and thinking we've got a point, and then Leeds 94th minute. It's a bit like watching Leicester, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. But that's the thing for Norwich, though, isn't it? They'd done the hard work by getting back into the game, which I think they were a bit lucky to do because I think Leeds had good chances to make it 2-0.
Yes.
But they did the hard work. They got back on level terms, and then they couldn't close out the game.
Yes. Yeah.
And yes, that's very like watching Leicester.
Leeds needed it because, I mean, now the 26 points, and what we say, Everton have got those games in hand, but you know, and they're 4 points ahead Everton, but they're not clear of it yet.
No, and again, I think if I'm not mistaken, Leeds have got to play. I think it might be Everton, might be Newcastle. They've got to play the team around then.
Yeah,
and those are crucial games that could be the difference between you staying up and going down. When I worry about Everton, there's just no fight at all.
Yeah.
Like I said, they can't defend, they're not attacking, they're not scoring goals. Leeds, I think at least, especially in the home games, when they get the crowd behind them, they're going to go forward, they're going to try and win games. Whether they can or not, that's the question, but they're going to try to win games. They're going to play on that front foot, especially at Ellen Road. They're going to try and win, because that's how they play.
Yep.
And that's just exciting to watch. Like, as much none of us like Leeds, they are exciting to watch because it can go really right or it can go incredibly wrong.
Yes.
I think with Bamford back, it's more likely to go right.
Having, seen the way the last two seasons have gone totally. And I mean, what I like about Leeds, and I don't mind Leeds, everybody, I was watching, when you go onto YouTube and you start watching something, YouTube takes you on the most amazing journey and you end up watching something completely different at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
and I am that person. I think I'm only going to watch some 10-minute clips, and then it recommends something. Oh, click on that. Like you say, you end up watching cruise ships being beached in Turkey or something.
Yeah.
But it was showing sort of the most, well, they called it the worst game ever for sort of, for tackles and injuries. And that was when Leeds played Chelsea. So you can see why they got the nickname Dirty Leeds. But what I like about Leeds is they don't brag that, well, we were this big club, so we deserve it, like a couple of clubs we've already mentioned. They'd been down there with us. They didn't come straight back up like we did. They had to fight their way back out of it. And, they've always, that fair play to them for that. I hope they stay up. I've got to be honest with you. I think a bit of that is because I want Everton to go down.
Yeah, I mean, if it was down just to Everton and Leeds, it's bye-bye Everton.
Yes.
Because like I say, they've just not got the fight. And they've spent so much money, Everton. And professionalism. You might not going to win every game. Of course you're not.
No.
Nobody does. But you put in the effort. And that's what I don't see from Everton. And the Evertonians deserve better than that. They deserve better.
Yeah. Yeah, well, all fans do, don't they, basically? But 87 minutes now at Selhurst Park, and it's still 0-0. I would imagine it's quite an exciting 0-0, to be honest with you. But there we go. Now, I got this one wrong because Southampton had been on a good run of form, and they were going under the radar slightly. With their results, they were up in 10th, but they suddenly seem to have last 3 games. They lost to Villa 4-0, they lost to Newcastle 2-1, and obviously they now lost to Watford. And Watford, they've given themselves a lifeline. Mella, who's a Watford fan, comes on and gives me some stick because I think the same with Watford as I do with Norwich. But I think to just go down and disappear, please. But maybe Roy might just pull off a miracle.
Yeah, because I think again, I don't think they're playing for a while either. So I think Roy's going to have a chance to really get his ideas into the team more. He's going to make him harder to beat.
Yep.
It's not going to be attractive football because it's not. It never is with Roy. But he's going to make them harder to beat. And when you are where they are, in a relegation battle like they are, that is what you need. That's why I feel that Watford and Burnley could both get out of it.
Yeah.
And then that drags Everton and whoever's above them.
Yeah. Like you say, you're not probably not going to see sort of, Watford scoring bags of goals, but they're not going to concede as many. If you're not conceding as many, then you're going to do well. Mike, good afternoon. How are you? He says, well, evening, Louise. Welcome to Leicester Till I Die. He is one of the nicer Man United fans, if I'm honest with you. You know, although his nice side is his Newport side, is not so nice side as his Man United side. All right, Mike. Hope you're feeling better, mate. You were positive with COVID. Like I said, and you haven't being a Man United fan, there's not much you can be positive about this season. And that is probably about the 10th time I've actually used that joke, and I'm going to milk it until you're better. And it's now 90 minutes. We are on at 90 minutes, guys, and it is Palace 0, Manchester City 0. You can see Liverpool and the Scousers going mad, can't you? You know.
Yes, very much so. But I also see the Palace fans going mad, because they don't see results like that very often, do they, against teams like Man City? So
no,
they'll be incredibly happy as well.
They don't. And yes, Mike, you did beat us in the FA Cup, but you beat us as Newport. You didn't beat us as Man United. So, hey ho. Just so, as well, we're waiting for that result to come through. What's happening to Southampton? I mean, I like Southampton. I do like Ralph, and I would have Ralph if ever Brendan left. I'd be quite happy to have Ralph, and I would have Ralph personally over Graham Potter. And all credit to Southampton. I think I said last week, 2 9-0 defeats in 2 seasons, and they've stuck with him, and he's got them into that top half. But like I said, you know, the wheels just seem to have come off the wagon somewhat.
Yeah, that's Southampton, though, isn't it? That's what always happens. At some point, it comes off. But again, the size of squad they have, that's going to happen, because you're going to get injuries, you're going to get red cards, you're going to get players COVID at the minute. There's going to be loads of reasons why, you know, things happen in the season. And they're not a side like us that have got a second team. Neither of us have. No. So when that happens, that's when the results dip. However, I think they had a really good start to the season, and that can't be taken for granted. You know, when they have the full squad, they seem to do okay.
Yeah. 5 minutes added time, by the way, or as we say, pep time. So, but yeah, I agree, and I got that one totally wrong, as you can see with my guess. I got this one wrong as well. This is I started off well. I'm a bit like Brighton myself. I've started off really well, and it all went to pot, you know. But West Ham and Aston Villa. West Ham doing a Leicester this season. They've still not beaten Seville. I think there is only one side that's beaten Seville in Europe, one English side, and that happens to be us. Let's not beat about the bush. Villa, we said it before. I think we touched on it last week. So up and down under Gerrard.
Yeah. And again, though, you know, he's not been there that long, and he's not an experienced manager.
No.
You know, so when things happen, he's learning as much as the players are. And I love Stevie G, obviously, for what he did for England.
Yeah.
Like, you can't. But it's so different, being a player to being a manager. There's so different skills there. And he's a leader, like, no doubt. But again, being able to shout at someone on the pitch is very different to having to actually manage them and the rest of the you know, the rest of the team.
And in fairness, when we got Brendan from Celtic, he'd already managed in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Where this is completely new to Stevie G, like you're saying. It is different. Managing Rangers or Celtic is completely different to managing any club in England, you know, because you know, unless you really cop things up or you get a points deduction or whatever, you're going to finish first or second. So, yeah, I think you will be given time. And the good thing for Villa is, you know, they've got all the money from the Grealish sale, and you know they didn't have to spend. They got Coutinho for a good price, and I think that's going to be an excellent signing once he gets back into his stride and used to the English game again. I really wish, in a way, we had gone for him, but then you know, who would you leave out? But
yeah, the thing with Coutinho is class is class. It's like Ronaldo. When you want to do it, they're going to do it, and he's going to have more games where he is that focal point. He is the best player in that side. Ronnie might not always have that, because at some point, obviously, his age-wise, he's going to slow down. He is human, believe it or not. And obviously, Man United are going to buy players. Villa, on the other hand, probably not same high price that they'll players.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Mike, who is the walking encyclopedia of football, always corrects me and quite rightly corrects me. I thought they'd bought him or they got an option to buy him. Is that it? And he's on loan apparently. I thought, but the other thing that Mike says, quite right, Mike, and thank you for correcting me. I should have said that and then not actually put that up on the thing and pretended that I just realised. I got that wrong there, but yeah, he has got the pulling power. That is it, Oh, sorry, Mike says here they are negotiating a permanent deal. I kind of thought there was something in there. West Ham, on the meantime, again, they're sort of struggling a bit now. They started off really, really well. They sort of started to drop a little bit earlier than Leicester have in previous seasons, but they haven't got, again, a huge squad. Oh, and it's literally just finished. Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 0.
Well done.
I think there's going to be a lot of people watching the Arsenal-Liverpool game later in the week.
Which even bigger now, even bigger.
Yeah, it is. What a game. What a game. We take it into 1 point. But then, this Arsenal, they could just go and beat Liverpool the season they're having. But West Ham, they have actually wheels off the wagon a little bit. But then, as we just said, then Arsenal are coming back, that they haven't been for a couple of seasons. But
that's what you want. That's what you want in the division. Obviously, we want Leicester to win everything. Of course we do.
Yes.
Not going to happen, but that's what we want. But that's what you want. You want different teams getting into Europe. You want, different teams winning it, finishing in that top 4.
Yes.
And that's why, obviously, it's disappointing that we didn't finish in those top 4 because we wanted it, but also because it would have been nice to see someone else representing us.
Yes. Yes, and quite right, as you said there, Mike, very emotional. We did actually mention that right at the top of the show about him, and well done to him. And like I say, credit to the Villa fans for actually applauding as well. I think that would have meant a lot to him. I say I'd got that wrong. I went for a draw, and we come to the aforementioned. What can I say? I can only say Arsenal. For those that remember Morecambe and Wise, 2-0. I was a bit disappointed. I got the absolute poo thrown at me. I was the proverbial fan. And I don't mean football fan, I mean electric fan, because I had all the shit thrown at me that you can imagine, because I dared to criticise and call. I said basically the bell ends back, because it was the substitutions. You're 2-0 down and you take a right back off and replace him with a right back, defensive midfielder off and replace him with a defensive midfielder, and you still stick with one up front and you take off Inacho and put Daka on. You might as well just have run the white flag up and go, we surrender, we'll end the game now, the points are yours.
Maybe. But I think the season for a long time has hinged on winning this conference, because that's it. Yes. That is Europe. That's the only way we're going to get into it. It's not happening in the league for us.
No.
So I want to believe that those substitutions were made for the game on Thursday. That's what I want to believe. I won't know until Thursday. However, to make those substitutions, like you say, when you're 2-0 down, sends a very wrong message for the Premier League.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because you should be saying, well, if we do this and we do this, like, we need to finish as high as we can, get as many points as we can. Every game matters. It doesn't matter whether we're 3-0 down, we play the same as if we're 3-0 up. That's the things that you should say. Yeah. And those substitutions don't really reflect that that's what he wants. But with the injuries and stuff we've had, maybe he's just saying, you know what? Yes, this season alone, I have to choose. I'm choosing Thursday.
The thing is, though, if he was resting in DD for the Rennes game, I kind of get it, but then Mendy can't play against Rennes anyway because he's not in that squad. So why bring in DD on at all? Mendy wasn't having a bad game. He was doing all right. I'd love to keep Mendy, but I don't think we will. Why not bring Chowdhury on? Pierre, I mean, James Justin, didn't make an appearance. Who's going to start, Pierre or Justin? I can't see it for me personally, and it's all about opinions. And what gets me, and I'll say this now. I'm going to have my little rant now. That's it. Put your feet up, get a coffee. I did have to kick a few people out of the Facebook group over the weekend because I put a comment about that. Now, I don't always put, as an admin of any group, you don't necessarily put what you believe, you put what you think will get a response, because that's how social media works. If I don't get responses in the group, then, or on my Twitter or Insta, whatever, then it's not worth having one. It's the same when people say, oh, talk sport, they're always down on Leicester and what have you. I say, yeah, but you're talking about them now. You'll get on the phone and you'll ring up and have a go at them. That's what they want, but some people can't seem to sort of compute that, and I always say that if you disagree with the post, whatever the post says, come up with an alternative answer. Don't just say, and the favourite one is always, oh, that shit, it's in the sun. Why is it, why come up and say why we shouldn't get that player or why whatever. And, it all got a bit personal, and actually I had to get, it does not mean, because I criticised Brendan Rodgers, does not mean I want him out. And on a recent show that we did, which was a sort of in and out show, should I stay, should I go sort of thing, I am very much Brendan in, because he's here on a long-term project. But that doesn't mean that we cannot criticise, because I'm sure a lot of people who are criticising zonal defending, I know a lot of people are criticising substitutions in the past, and people say, well, it's Arsenal, it's a given, we haven't won there in how many, and I know all that, but we're allowed to criticise, and it doesn't mean we're not a fan. It doesn't mean we're any less of a fan than other people. So I had to get that off my chest, so do apologise for that. But
the thing is, it's like you say, this is what I said. I saw a lot of Brendan Rodgers out in certain parts of this season, and my comment is always the same. Okay, let's get rid of him. Who do you want? And I never get a reply back.
Yeah.
Never ever get the reply back. I want this manager. And then I go, well, okay, that's not really very realistic. Do you think we really could get him? And you can have a conversation. That's how conversations work.
Yes. Yeah.
But no, it's just my opinion is wrong. What I think is right.
Right. So who are we going to get? If you want Brendan out, who are we going to get? Den Haag. He isn't going to come to us. We've won. Yeah, we've won the FA Cup. Yes, we've won the Premier League once 5-6 years ago. Yes. If it's a choice of Man United playing like they are now or Leicester, you're going to go to Manchester United. I'm sorry. It's the fact of life, Ancelotti, do you remember every time we sat to manager, Ancelotti was being mentioned. We should get Ancelotti. Well, he went to Everton and, look how that worked out. Not very well.
Yeah, I don't think that's Ancelotti, though. I think that's Everton, to be honest. I think
possibly, yeah.
Things that have gone on and things that are going on up top there, I just think the whole club needs to be shaken and sorted out.
Yeah. Anthony, I should say welcome along, but I don't know if I can do. He did the watch along with me, and he was an Arsenal fan, and he kind of enjoyed it. In fairness, Anthony, all credit to you. I would have done, the other way around. He's been waiting in the shadows for us to get to this game. This is what he thought. Yeah, starts at 9, be about 10 o'clock. We'll get to Leicester. I'll pop on just in time for that. Mike said, we should have lost more. They hit the post, and quite right here. Journalism is an act of what's right to get clicks and different opinions, hence why sometimes there are false rumours to get. It is, and like I say, I won't put a false rumour on my face, in the Leicester Till I Die Facebook group, but I'll put an opinion. Now, whether that, if I was to put Leicester were unlucky, we should have won it, I'd probably get 75% saying, yeah, brilliant, stick with the club, well done, mate, but I'd probably only get 10 comments or something. But because I put that, and they're saying, well, you know, that doesn't always work. I went, well, you replied to it. So it obviously does work, you know.
People are more likely to be angry than they are happy in any situation.
Yes.
I worked in customer service for a long time, and there is always someone willing to be angry and unhappy.
Yes. And somebody said on the show I did earlier, which was the Arsenal show. I can't remember who it was. It might have been you, Anthony. I can't remember. But somebody said that if Arsenal keep winning, AFTV is going to have to shut down. And I do know that Talk Sport had to go at them because they had Robbie on a few years ago saying that he gets more clicks when, you know, or more watches when Arsenal lose. And
so do they.
Yeah, exactly. It's a fact. People do not ring up, or very few people. For every 5 people that ring up to say, you know, this team had a good game and we won and we deserved it, you'll get 15 or 20 from the opposition ringing up to have a go because you'd lost, you know. Matt, I mentioned this earlier, Mike.
Celebrate. You've got better things to do than ring in a talk show.
Yes.
If your team's lost and you're miserable,
yes, yeah.
You just pick up the phone, innit?
Yeah, Ralph Husenthal again. Yes, you quite. Again, I mentioned this early, didn't I? But just to say, I don't want Brendan to go. You know, he's coming for a project, and I've got to be honest with you. Tillemans may or may not go. The rumours are now he may not go. He's waiting till the season ends, and he's going to see who's in the Champions League places in each of the countries. I don't think he'll go anywhere or to a club that's not in the Champions League because that's what he wants. But I think he's looking over his shoulder and going, hang on a second. Fofana's just signed a new contract. He's committed himself to the club. Ricardo, one of the best right backs, in Europe. And he's just and Justin, another young guy, has just committed as well. And he's probably looking at that and going, well, I wonder who they're going to get in. And he's not stupid. He knows the sort of season we've had with injuries. And the rumours are, he might be looking at this and going, yeah, maybe I will give it another couple of years.
I think Yuri, if he wants it, can go on to bigger and better things. I think he's good enough to do that. Yeah. And if he leaves in the summer, he goes with my blessing. 1000%. But he's got to be careful because I don't want players to stay because they're going to play. But if he stays at Leicester, he's playing every game he's fit.
Yes.
No problem. He is playing every single week.
Yeah.
If he goes to Manchester United, Chelsea, Juve, whoever it be, that isn't guaranteed. And, you might get the medal, but if you've not played, you've not won the medal.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You've not won the medal, you've not played, or you've not played many.
When we won the Premier League, Richie Delat got a medal, but for 2/3 of the season, he'd been on loan somewhere.
Was it medals? Because he got 2 medals, didn't he?
He got the medal for being in it, but he hadn't been even at the club for over 2/3 of the season. Yeah,
I'm sure wherever he went, he got. I think they got. Did they win the playoffs or something where he went?
I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Yes, I think they did.
In the season, he got one for winning the Premier League with us, and then one for. I think it must have been playoffs. I don't think they won. I don't think he won the championship. But
he did get 2 medals. Yes, but. Yeah, I say that's how it goes, but we'll wait and see. I mean, Rennie says here he's playing for Rodgers to stay. Rodgers is going to, he's good. It's good with the youngsters, and look at the players that are coming through. I mean, we don't have to go out and buy as many because we look at the sort of players we're getting in, and he buys. When players he buys generally are younger, and. If you've got a 5-year plan or whatever it is, and I think, our owners, and we said about them all being businessmen earlier, but they're not bad at what they do, and they've got plans for this club, the stadium rebuild, all the land that they're going to make with the big megastore and hotel and everything else. I mean, it's going to be absolutely massive. They're committed to the club. And I just you know, as you bring a manager in and you say, right, we're going to give you 5 years. And yes, obviously, you know, if we were now sat down in 19th place or 18th place, it would be a different conversation altogether. But we're not, you know, we're not going to get relegated.
I'd still be saying keep him because I think even if you're in that position, Brendan Rodgers is the kind of manager you want. He's got experience, you know, he's managed in the league before. Again, if you let him go, who's coming?
Yes, yeah. But for me, like I say, he's only say two full seasons into whatever his plan is. Fergie at Man United, you know, he rebuilt 2 or 3 times. You've got to do that if you're going to be somewhere a long time. I think he probably realizes his chances of going on to a bigger club like, you know, Madrid, Barcelona is going to be a little bit out of it now. Even Man United, you know, I think it's kind of, you know, he was linked with these clubs before. He's not being now. But yeah, let him do it, because if we get rid of him, we're just going to start again. So we're starting another 5-year plan and then another. But
you say it's not being talked about with these clubs, but he was last season.
That's what I mean. Yes, I'm saying he was there.
Have another great season like that, and he'll be talked about these jobs again. Because that's what people look at. All they look at is where are they in the division. They don't look at the injuries we've had. They don't look at the results we've had, how we've actually played. All it is, Brendan Rodgers quite clearly can't manage because Leicester aren't in the top 6.
Yes, yeah.
Which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yes. No, it is. No, I agree. And it's a very good point you make there about that. Welcome. That was shy. Charlie, a Man City fan. Hello, sir. You're going to be looking over your shoulder now, aren't you, a little bit? It was all about Man City dropping points, not Liverpool winning them, and you're keeping your end of the deal up, I think, at the moment. Terry fell asleep between your shows. Well, thank you, Terry. What does that say? Mike says here, I just like the Hussenthal model. He fits Leicester by buying cheap and retaining a good squad. He does. Like I say, if Rodgers was to go, that's the guy I'd want to go and get in. We need to beat top clubs for Europe. Sorry, Renee. We need to beat top club in for UEC. I'm not sure what you mean there. I'm not sure what you mean. Scott, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Again, I'm completely lost with everything. I'll cover all my bases. Apologies for being late. That's okay. Have you got a letter from your mum? I expect to see it. You're going to have half an hour's what do they call? Oh God, what did they used to call it when you're at school and they kept you behind? So it's not suspension. Detention. That's it. Yeah, half an hour detention there, Scott. When he says, "Don't worry, say sorry." Luca, welcome along, mate. How are you? Well, we finished talking about Arsenal, so we're happy now. We're looking forward. That's another one we've consigned to the waste bin of this season. You know, I think for I mean, you know, I haven't got the tables because obviously there was the game on tonight, but we just refresh this and see what it is. So you're now looking at and the Premier League haven't updated it yet. Well done, Premier League. You've got one job after all. It is the Premier League, and your website hasn't updated the table. That said, nor has the BBC. Oh, we're doing really well here. Is anybody thinking about updating the table at all? Is it that hard to do? We'll try. We'll try Sky. Let us try Sky and just see where the table is, because if they haven't, I'm giving up. I really am. Let's get Sky. Here we go. Tables. Here we go. And yes, they've updated it. So, Manchester City now. No, they haven't updated it because Manchester City haven't played an extra game yet. No, nobody's updated. Anyway, there is literally 4 points between them. I know, but the Sky, the BBC, the Premier League haven't done it yet. 1 point between them. Liverpool coming back at them. They've made it interesting. We said earlier, I think we're both going for Manchester City still at that. And at the other end, and let's just get rid of this. At the other end,
too difficult to say.
It is. Really Norwich, I think, is definitely the one that's going down, without a doubt.
I think they're losing games they need to win,
Mm.
and that's obviously not good.
Yes, making up with the gin. No, that's just for you. That's not for me. Do you think maybe a shake-up in the backroom staff is needed? Colo should be replaced to give Rodgers more food for thought. To be honest with you, whoever is in, it's got to be Rodgers' choice because Rodgers has got to work with them. And this is why I don't like directors of football, because it's very rare that that they get on, because they have obviously football's opinions and they've got different opinions. And I think your backroom staff have got to be, not necessarily the director of football, but certainly Rodgers' staff has got to be Rodgers' choice.
And I don't think for 1 millisecond that they're not practicing these things on training field.
Yes.
You're not telling me they're not practicing corners and free kicks, the amount we've let in this season.
Yeah. Yes.
Of course they are. Of course they are. But just whatever reason, players aren't getting it in the Reds.
No. And you've got clubs, and I know that Arsenal, because I was talking to Rich from Over and Over Arsenal in the show earlier, and he said, they'd said that Arsenal had been practicing corners because they knew we were, vulnerable from them. Rennie thought on Scott Brown will be coaching role defender, I think. Scott, as far as I understand it, Scott is coming in because Brendan's giving him a favour of saying, come and just see how it works. We're not actually, I don't think, employing him as such, are we? That's how I understand it. No, I mean, he had him as a player at Celtic. He's retired now from playing. He wants to get into coaching. He always has done. And Brendan, as far as I understand it, said, come on down and see how it goes. He hasn't offered him a job. He's just said, come along down until you sort of something out and you can see how things operate and get involved.
Surely a club in Scotland are going to offer him some sort of coaching role.
I'm sure they will at some point.
He's been at Celtic, the biggest, one of the biggest clubs up there for his whole career. He's won loads of stuff up there.
Yeah.
You'd
but of course, it's all about getting your licenses these days, isn't it? And
I mean, if you'd had any brains, though, we would have been doing them while he was still playing.
Well, yes, indeed. But then again, brain cells footballers don't always go together, do they? Leicester City, it looks like it's going to be mid-table for us, and I don't think that's bad, to be honest with you. If we remember sort of where we have been, and we've had 2 really good years, we've won the FA Cup and the Community Shield. It's not a bad place to be in, and we have still got Europe. I don't know if we can go on and win the Conference League, and I just think it's unfortunate it's been called the Conference League, but I want to because it's a European trophy.
It's not just that, but it does get us into the Europa for next season, which is
exactly.
huge.
Yes.
Obviously, we're not going to do that through the league, so this is literally the only way. And that's why I say maybe that's what he's doing. He's putting all the eggs in the European basket.
Yes. We
and
won't
that's a
know.
dangerous thing to do, but at the same time, if it pays off,
and
that's the thing. We could win a trophy this season. For everything that's been going on at Leicester, we could win a trophy this season.
Yes. We are still in with a chance,
No one, but
I've got to be honest with you, and I should have done this when we did the Manchester United game, but we've got more chance of winning something than this season than this. I did do it early, but I think it's only right that I do it every show. 14 years, 14 days, 4 hours, 48 minutes and 13 seconds. And you ain't going to win anything this season, Tottenham, and we still can. So whether we will or not is something else. But, we did well in the first leg against Rennes. I mean, that second goal was so important, wasn't it?
Yeah. It just gives you that extra cushion and that ability to try and go forward to get a third and really kill it off.
Yes,
So we'll see what happens.
Do you wonder why? And I wrote it down early, so I did want to ask you about it. Inacho, top goal scorer last season. Him and Vardy played well up front in the 2. Nowhere to be seen this year.
Yeah, I can't answer the question because I don't know.
No,
I don't know why that is.
No.
And again, like, it's unfair if you are the best at what you do at the club that you are at, you should be playing. Especially when Vardy's injured. Like, but then again, you brought Patson in. Why bring him in if you're not going to play him? Like,
yes.
It's so hard to juggle a squad. And when Vardy comes back, both of them will be on the bench. So
yes. Yeah, it's well, we miss him, don't we? We miss Jamie, but
for sure, yeah.
Anyway, thank you as always, Louise. Great show. As I forget who it was earlier said, welcome to Leicester Till I Die. Been great. Hope you've enjoyed this one as much as last week.
Yeah, very much so.
I love having you on. It's brilliant, and I will see you same time, same place, as they say.
Next week.
And we will be talking, hopefully, about a Leicester win against Brentford and being in the quarterfinals of the Europa Conference League.
Let's hope so.
Crossed. Fingers crossed. Thanks so much, Louise. All the best to you and your family. Take care. Thanks a lot. Cheers. Bye-bye. Oh, thanks so much to Louise. Great, absolutely great addition to the channel. Really, really pleased to have her. And thanks so much. What I want you to do, though, if you can do something for me before you go, just yeah, if you could like the show, share it if you can, and subscribe to the channel. It would be, in the words of that great poet laureate, it would be fandabidozy. Thanks very much for watching, and thanks so much if it's on podcast for listening as well. Really do appreciate the listens on podcast. I mean, it's mad. It's nearly 4,000 downloads since January. I mean, it blows my mind. It really does. So thank you very much for all the listens on podcast. We will be back tomorrow at 9 o'clock with the prediction show. Just going to go wrong again, isn't it? We haven't hardly got any right. And you know you're having a bad week when Steve Linux has actually got more right than you. That it sums up that you know you're having a bad week. Respect, Steve, respect to you, but you do know that it's not your forte predictions. Maybe that's because Scott did them for you. Scott, send him a message. Ask him if he wants you to do it this week for him. See you tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Thank you so much for whether it was watching or listening. I really do appreciate it. I will see you tomorrow at 9. Take care. And remember, don't do anything that I wouldn't enjoy. Good night.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.